It's always a wonderful experience. But I don't know why you have to welcome Daniel.
This is the first time for me to interview.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm quite excited. It's always a homecoming when I come to LBS to appear as always.
That's good. How is the LRA?
Great, fantastic, wonderful. Working to meet the targets. We have a responsibility to this country, and that is to collect the monies that the government needs to run the country. And that is just what the LRA is doing under the stewardship of James Double Jala, an experienced public official, a man of integrity that has brought a lot of ideas and change that we are learning to impact the collection of revenue in this country. So the LRA is on what people normally call an irreversible trajectory. We're not going back, we're going straight ahead, and we're going along with our target.
Okay. And by the way, this broadcast is being relayed on other community radio stations across Liberia, but here in Monrovia we have Radio Bush Road 98.1, Punch FM 106.7, ABC Radio 105.7, and that of Cool FM 91.9. They are relaying this broadcast. And thanks to all those radio station management teams that are relaying as well from other parts of Liberia. It's good. And today we're talking about 10 years of existence as a revenue generating arm. How are the process is ongoing ahead of the 10 years of celebration?
Well, like you said, rightly, we've been around 10 years. July 1st made the LRA 10 years. So during the last 1 decade, we've been doing the same thing over again, but with new touch of ideas, new touch of experiences, and a way to do it even better. Let me just give some more history about the LRA. The LRA was born in September 2013, and then it started operation officially on July 1, 2024. Where did it come from? Well, initially we have the Ministry of Finance, and in the Ministry of Finance you have the Department of Revenue. During the reform of our country after years of war, with the support of international partners and looking at best practices across the world, it was thought that the Ministry of Finance could not be collecting the money at the same time dishing the money. So you cook it and you dish it up. No. It was thought that they should focus on policy issues and how to improve the system, and then the revenue department will focus on exclusively collecting the revenue. They now could focus on that the Ministry of Finance could be merged with the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, Affairs. So that's why you have Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and then you have the LRA as a standalone, but still working in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that we collect revenue. So since then, we've been working. 10 years have been a great experience for us. Experience in the sense that we've been able to remove or move revenue collection from annually around 400 million to more than 700 million in the last 10 years. So on an annual basis,
it's a milestone for the
yeah, it is, but we still feel that we haven't been where we want to be. Yeah. But that's a milestone, you will say, from an institution that used to collect 400 million, and now we are around 700 million, and we are pushing towards 1 billion. And that's where we want to be. So if you look at over all these years, we've been able to collect a little 4.5 billion if you put all together all of the money we've been collecting at the level of the LRA. Is that enough? Well, I would say no, we want to do more. And that is why we have our officials who are working along with us to ensure that we meet this target. But How have we come all this far? Has it been just the LRA? No, it has been the taxpayers. Without the taxpayers, we wouldn't be measuring these figures we're measuring here. Without the taxpayers, we would not be able to meet our monthly and quarterly and annual target. So all the prices go to the taxpayers across this country who feel that they have an obligation and a responsibility to their country, and they have been diligently paying their taxes. And that's why we want to encourage all other people who feel or who have not been doing so to join the bandwagon. Because the only way we can build our country, the only way we can move forward, the only way we can see the change that we want to see, the change that we're yearning for, is we have to have money for the government to operate. If the LRA does not meet a target just for 1 or 2 months, the country shut down in the sense that there will be serious challenges. The president will not even go to work because the president needs money to go to work. I mean, I'm keeping it as high at that level. And then I'll also come down that you wouldn't be sitting here because you need fuel and all to run this station. So that's how important revenue that we collect is to this country. And that's why we owe it to the taxpayer to say thank you for what you've done for the last 10 years. And the way you've been doing it, we want you to increase that level, that enthusiasm, so that we can take our revenue collection to 1 billion and give the government capacity to be able to spend more on roads. The president has said, roads. So that's something very serious. How do we do that? How do we maintain the road during the rainy season so that people can move from here to go to my local county or to the southeastern region and other places? It's only through the taxes that we pay.
Daniel, do you want to add to that?
Well, in addition to what the manager stated, the LRA also has been very engaged with ensuring that we have our presence in all of the 15 counties. So in every county, we have a tax business office and a customs business office. In some areas, they are merged, and in some areas, there are more than one tax business office. For example, somewhere like Nimba County, there's one in Ganta, there's another one in Saniquili. So the essence of all of this is to ensure that we're also able to track what's going on in the counties, and not everybody in the county has to come to Monrovia directly to be able to pay their taxes. Another way that the LRA has evolved over the years is also with raising tax awareness. I can tell you for free, when the LRA actually started, the tax rule, and that is the amount of registered or known taxpayers we have, was very small. That number has grown, and most importantly, that at the LRA we categorize, taxpayers into large, small, medium, petty traders, and thereabout. So almost in every different, section of how we categorize taxpayers, the tax rule continues to grow. And one of the things that will interest you to notice that before now, probably 10 years ago, people in Liberia saw tax payment not as a patriotic duty, rather it was government trying to collect money from people so that they can spend for their personal use or government officials. But today people understand that tax payment is a national duty. It's something that when you do, you are committing yourself to an effort to develop your country, because we all know that maybe 10 years ago, we talked about foreign direct investment into the country, billions of dollars coming. But are we receiving billions of dollars today? No, we're not receiving billions of dollars today. That tells you that, somebody cannot keep scratching your back for the rest of your life. You have to also find a way now to tell your brother or your sister to scratch your back. And what I mean by that is we have to collect and generate money that we can be able to use for our own development. Mind you, when you also do that, you can hold your government accountable for carrying out development for you. So in a nutshell, at the LRA, we're very proud. And most importantly, the LRA has also been engaged with training its employees over the years.
Capacity building,
human capacity building in different areas. And this is not just about taxation, it's also in leadership, it's also in different aspects of how we do our work, audit, and you just name it. So as a result of this, we're also trying to build one of the strongest workforce you can ever have in a government institution in Liberia. And I can say for free that joining the LRA, I've met, consummate professionals, people who are very dedicated, passionate about their work. And this speaks to the revenue collection that we, or the numbers that we continue to pull out, because without the kind of people that we have at the LRA, I'm not sure the LRA will be able to raise that much money. But most importantly, the leadership at the LRA, going as far back as Mrs. Tamba to now the late Thomas Dona to Commissioner General James Dobojala, we've had great leadership. And this is in no disregard to the deputies. The deputies too have also played very significant roles in ensuring that we are where we are today. So over the last 10 years, it's been about ensuring that we raise awareness, ensuring that we are present, ensuring that we are letting people know that, tax is a responsibility that you owe it to your country. But most importantly, one of the key things that we've been able to do over the last 10 years is we've run a voluntary regime system, where we see,
when you say voluntary regime,
so this means that we urge you to pay your taxes, and we raise awareness with you. You come by yourself to pay your taxes
willingly. They'll come
willingly. So the essence is to encourage you. So before now, tax collectors will go and stand. People come stand online to pay their taxes, and if you didn't come, people either beat you, they went to your house by force, they lock your place. Now that we don't do some of those things today, but now it is the last option. So, say for example, you see, before we lock someone's business, it takes 2-3 years, because we're talking to you. Our people will come to educate you. We will send you letters repeatedly. We will send people to visit your office. If you're not understanding it, we'll provide the education. We bring you to our office. We provide you internet. We run you through our systems. So over the last 10 years, we've been able to ensure that a lot of people just walk into the LRA and say, I've come to pay my real property tax, or I just want to know how much I'm paying as taxes. And this is very important. And that's why over the last 10 years, we're very proud of where we are. But most importantly, we're not complacent. We're looking forward to breaking new grounds.
That's good. Let's sway a bit. The last time the Commissioner General was speaking, when he went to the legislature, he spoke about the LRA being on its own. How far are we with the call from the Commissioner General, James Dobojala?
Well, I mean, that's good. First, let me say also, before answering your question, I don't want to forget about the staff of the LRA.
Okay.
Their commitment, their sincerity, their hard work have also led to where we are. So while it is true, we're saying thank you to the taxpayers out there. Daniel outlined some of the engagement that we have with them. Those engagements are done by people who are trained, who are professional, who need to reach out to the people to ensure that they are tax compliant. So without those hard-working staff at the LRA, we also will not be able to meet the target that we've met. Now, financial autonomy, yes. Even if you hadn't asked a question, because that's a prospect, one of the way forward. Everywhere the Commissioner General has gone, he has sang this song, and it's becoming a music that we need to sing and dance to, because it means well for our country. The essence of financial autonomy of the LRA is that it will help to increase efficiency and effectiveness in the tax administration. Revenue authorities typically around the world are granted independence from direct political control, and allowing them to operate more efficiently and implement all of the modern tax administration practices. For example, if you go to South Africa, it is autonomous. Kenya, Ghana, Uganda, Tanzania, Zambia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Mexico, Canada, all of these countries, and many more, have their tax authorities that are autonomous. The concept of this autonomy is not that LRA will collect the money and put it in its pocket. No. What it means is that when we collect 5 cents, if you give you a 5%, the 5% will be remitted to us. Now, it is not us who even taking the 5% away. It's going to be remitted to us. If we collect, for example, $100 for the whole year, 5% of $100 is $5. That's what's going to come to the LRA. So what this does is that we have our own money. We don't have to wait for example, finance ministry to do an allocation or decide the quarterly allocation before we begin to spend. We might have emergency, we might have other things to do, and because we have our own money, we can go there and decide how to use it as the best way that will benefit us and the country in general. So that is a push we are on, and that is a direction we're trying to work with all stakeholders, the legislature, the judiciary, the civil society, and including people like you, to see sense into it so that we can move in that direction. And that can help us be able to get the needed equipment on time, the needed technology. Right now, we're moving
going digital.
Yeah, digital. So everything is being automated, and automation is expensive. And so if you want to wait for maybe the 80 million, the 50 million that will come, and the processes involved with all of these, it might just take away some time, undermine or undercut our efficiency. So it is in this direction that the Commissioner General, the senior management team, and all our people are pushing it. Give us that opportunity, that what it is in all of, because nobody is an island. So we look for the best practices and use them to be able to make ourselves better. When I talk about best practices, the LRA itself has set an example of best practices in the region. Without that, our team, our post-career audit team, will not be from here to go to Gambia to train people. Without that, we will not leave from here to go to Sierra Leone. Our custom department will not leave from here to go to Sierra Leone to help them set up their modernized Articuda system. The practice that we practice here are the practices that people want to practice in other places. And so we can learn from one another in a global community and advance ourselves. So financial autonomy, yes, is the drive, because it will give us some independence, it will give us the capacity, it will help us to recruit the best people we want to recruit, because we have the resources we can be able to use freely to ensure that we do our work better.
But you will still have some political interference.
Let me take away the issue of political interference. There's no organization around the world that will not have, but it will be minimized to some extent.
Yeah.
That is because, look, however way you say you live in a paper house, let me be simple in the Liberian. You live in a paper house, you can't just do anything in a paper house. Papa say don't come home 9 o'clock. You don't go home 9 o'clock. You live on your own, you can go home 9 o'clock, 9:30, or earlier than that. So what I'm trying to say in another sense is that it's not just about political interference, but it's about capacity, being able to do the things the right way at the right time without waiting or without getting into delay. So that is the direction in which we're going, and that will help us. The big song we're singing, moving to the billion. When Commissioner General said 1 year, 1 billion, 1 year, 1 billion, 1 Y, 1 B, these are the things we're saying, and that is our hope that we can get there. The legislature, the government, whosoever, give us that opportunity. Now, let me tell you something that many of the people in the public don't understand when it comes to revenue collection. People feel that those of us who work at LRA go to the taxpayer, get the taxes, put it in our pocket, and then we decide to get some. No, it doesn't work that way. How it works is this. If you're supposed to pay a tax and you have a bill from the LRA, for instance, you go to the commercial bank and pay the amount in the government account, the consolidated account, or the government account numbers are at the various banks. You pay, and then you bring the deposit slip to the LRA, and the LRA issue you a receipt, a flag receipt, except where it is in the rural part. And even at that, there are processes that if you take a dime from anybody, we issue them the legitimate receipt. So it's not that we collect money, the money come to us, and we sit down on the money, we say, okay, this is what we're making. just try to provide that clarity, because I interact with a lot of people, and that's how the people feel when LRA say it is crying for money or it needs money, and people say, "But how can you be collecting money and you say asking for money, you want money?" The Commissioner General went to one cabinet meeting. He came back and said, "Oh, I mean, everybody at the meeting is like, we don't have enough money. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough money." And like everybody will be looking up to the LRA to provide enough money. So these are some of the things that we're trying to see, that when this is done, we can be able to solve some of the problem and improve our revenue collection.
With this 10 years of celebration, what is the vision after this celebration? What next? What are the prospects ahead of for the next feature of the LRA?
We just talked about one of them.
We talk about
financial autonomy.
Yeah.
2, we now have our domestic resource mobilization strategies. We're working on the next one. The DRM is a kind of document that will help us to guide us as a roadmap on where we're going, how we're going to get there, and in fact why we even need to get there. And the team of the DRM we're working on currently is building a resilient Liberia, enhancing domestic resource mobilization for national transformation. The goal of this DRMS is to reduce dependence on external funding and enhance fiscal reliance and lay a strong foundation for inclusive economic growth. What it means is that we don't want to depend on the outside people any longer, because I mean the international community is looking at where there are more crises, where they can be able to spend money to save humanity, rather than a country that is stable and has resources.
Why is the LRA so upbeat in making sure that they do all of these things on their own? What are you sensing? What are you looking at?
Well, Melvin, the first thing is no government in the world survives without taxes. That's one. 2, one of the reasons why we're so upbeat. Sorry, I'm under the weather.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we're so upbeat about this is because revenue collection and revenue generation is or plays a very cardinal part of all of what we do. We don't get to pay salaries as a government when people don't pay taxes. We don't get to carry out any form of development.
Yeah.
I mean, and when I say any form of development, it's not just about building roads or putting medication in hospitals. It's also about, say, for example, we have students studying abroad that are on government scholarship. That per diem they get is the only source of livelihood they get to maintain them. So there are a lot of things that are tied to revenue collection in so many ways. It is more like the engine of a vehicle. If no matter how beautiful a car is, if the engine is not working properly, it is nothing. So these, when we're passionate and we're upbeat about telling people to pay taxes and what we've achieved over the period and why we think we need things like financial autonomy and the independence, one thing that independence does for an institution is that it makes you to stand on your own. It puts you in a position to be able to execute key plans and strategies at specific time. Say, for example, did anybody expect the LRA not to collect revenue during election? The collection of revenue is our job, whether it's a holiday, whether it's election day, whether it's election week, whether people are campaigning, whether people are protesting against government. People expect us to do our job, and that is why during the COVID-19 period, the country recorded, its first highest ever revenue raise during COVID-19. And a lot of people did not see it as much, but the way we work, our job does not stop because people are protesting. It does not stop because people are going to vote. It does not stop because things are happening. It does not stop because people's homes are flooded because of the weather. In fact, it is supposed to continue because at the end of the day, the disaster management agency needs money to go and intervene. Mm-hmm. It does not stop because someone has got burned by fire. The fire service would need money to go and put the fire off and even carry out some intervention. So our work is so cardinal to the function of the entire government. And that is why at the LRA we remain very committed in saying that we need financial autonomy. Financial autonomy gives, one, it puts us in a position to motivate our staff to be able to work effectively. Two, it also puts us in a position to be able to hire more staff. If somebody told you that the current LRA has about 1,000 plus employees, will you believe that? But at the same time, if somebody told you that the LRA needs more staff, would you believe that? And I'm telling you now that the LRA needs more staff, because you would not know that at our tax business offices we have 5, 6, sometimes 2, 3 persons to a whole county. Now, that county, for example, counties like Bong, Lofa, Nimba that are so big, you got only 2 offices, and you got several commercial cities and districts in those counties. So we need more staff to collect revenue. We need to motivate these staff. We need to train them. We need to capacitate them. We need to provide them the tools. But most importantly, all of what we're doing has a ripple effect. And that effect is, we're telling you that instead of giving us 18 million and 19 million, and then we still have to run behind you to the Ministry of Finance to get this money, every time we need to spend, tie our performance to what you gave us. So if we're able to raise $1 billion and you give us 5% of 1 billion, which would be around $50 million, and we're at 18 now, do you know how much we can do with the excess that comes with that? Do you also know,
especially when you're on your own now?
Yes, and do you know what happens when you motivate us by giving us that amount? Next year, we want to push for 1.5 or $2 billion. And every time we increase the revenue, LRA gets more money to spend. Because just as we think that people at the LACC should be paid well, people at the Ministry of Justice, our judges, because we want them to be integrous, you have to, it goes without saying that you also have to make sure that the people who work for the Revenue Authority are their best. At the end of the day, they're able to give the best to the country. So this financial autonomy is not about giving us just extra money to put in our pockets. No, financial, and that's why we're encouraging legislators. If any legislator is listening this morning, the issue of financial autonomy that the Commissioner General Dobo Jala continues to raise is that tie performance to our budget. Now, no government institution in the Republic has ever asked the legislature to tie their performance to what you gave them. This is the first time, and LRA and the Commissioner General is very resolute and resolved, and he said this everywhere he's gone, that tie what you gave us to what we collect.
Is that call already falling on fertile ground?
It is. And I can tell you for free.
From the legislature.
It is. I can tell you very clearly that we have very seasoned people at the legislature. And that's why I love the mix at the legislature. Because you have lawyers, you have accountants, you have people from different backgrounds. And all of these people know that even at the very legislature, if you tell me, say, if I'm able to pass 10 bills, you will add 1 million to my budget every year, you will see how they will pass bills. Now, we were telling you the same thing. The whole country is crying for money. Melvin, the whole country crying for money. If we were to go to Director General Fagon right now and tell him to give us a list of things he needs and close our eyes to all the government ministry agency, in the next 6 months, this place will be second to none. But everybody wants a piece of the pie. Unfortunately, the pie is that small that it has to be reduced to competing priorities. We're saying that we can raise far more than what we're raising now. But for us to be able to do that, you need to tie our performance to what we get. We're asking for 5%, only 5%. But most importantly, Melvin, one of the things we've been able to do over the 10 years is to move from manual interactions with the LRA to digital interaction. And we had a manual system before. So everything you do, you come to LRA, you transact, you fill in a form. All we have to do is enter it into the computer, and then we call that a system. Now we've launched, over the last 2 years, the Liberia Integrated Tax Administration System, LITAS. LITAS now allows you to register as a taxpayer online. It allows you to file and pay your taxes online. Interestingly, the system has now integrated with 7 banks: EcoBank, GT Bank, UBA, AfriLand, IB, and SIB banks. These banks already have existing digital platforms through which their customers and clients, deposit money or withdraw money from their accounts. So we're saying that we don't want to go and reinvent the wheels. You already have an existing system by which you interact with your customers. So we've integrated our system with their systems. So if you're going to pay taxes, you can use that same banking platform with your bank of choice, and you'll be able to pay your taxes. The system generates, and that has been one of the key things that we've struggled with, for the system to be able to generate an LRA receipt that you can, an e-receipt that you can download and have whenever maybe auditors come to audit that you've paid your taxes. Interestingly, what that also does is we're able to, in real time, see that you have paid your taxes in our system. So the system allows the taxpayer to have what we call a tax account, like mobile money, for example. So you can see your account balance, you can know when you're supposed to pay. The system alerts you as to when your taxes are due, depending on who you are or the kind of business you are. So all of these things are interesting. Also, our system, we can now verify receipts, because we've had issues where somebody issues you what they call an LRA receipt, but then one day auditors come, and then when they come to check that receipt is not a legitimate LRA receipt. That means you've been duped. Now you as a taxpayer can go to LRA website and just go to receipt verifier and type in the number. Every receipt has a coded number on it. You put that number in the system. Wherever was written, that receipt appears digitally to you. So it also puts you in a position to be able to track your payments, to know that you've paid. Additionally, one of the things that we've also done to reduce the turnaround time is we have a new and refurbished website. If you look at the LRA website 3 months back and today, it's far different. It is more user friendly. We have now what we call the tax tools on the website. Say, for example, you want to calculate what your duties will be, you bring it in a container. You can go there and do that. You want to know how much your employer is supposed to take from your salary, your personal income tax. You can go to our website now, and you can so the estimator is there. You just plug in your salary, and then it'll be able to tell you how much your employer is supposed to take from you every month or every year. So there's no...
Is that confidential? For
no, look at the point. When you go to do that, you go to do that alone. Nobody going with you.
Okay.
So if you took your phone and log on to LRA website now, and you go to the personal income tax estimator, and you punch in your salary, it's only there to tell you what your employer is cutting for your salary every month. Because when you get your paycheck, it's never the same as your own letter. Mm-hmm. So, when you get your paycheck, and I don't even want to explain my LRA experience. I know when you do get your paycheck, it's never the same as what, or you get your letter, is never the same as what appears in your account at the end of the month, because it is either Social Security or your taxes are deducted. Now, most people don't know the percentage. They don't even know how much the employer is supposed to withhold from their salaries at the end of the month. Now we're saying that you can know that easily. Also, if you have a property, whether it's a residential property, commercial property, it's a vacant land in urban area or rural area, you can also go to the website now and be able to easily plug in the value of your property. So if I have a residential property that's around $25,000, I go and say my property costs $25,000. It's a residential property. It will tell me how much I'm supposed to pay for real property tax. So additionally, now you can go to the website and apply for a tax clearance certificate. Now, people need tax clearance certificates for government contracts. You're getting donor funding as an NGO. You want to contest elections, you need to present a tax clearance. You're bringing in a continual report. The tax clearance only tells us that you are a compliant taxpayer. That means that upon requesting or before we issue you tax clearance, it's free of charge. Before we issue you it, if you have any outstanding bills, you have to clear your bills, because those who you're going to work for requesting tax clearance because they want to know that you are paying your dues to your country. Now, if you say bring money and you apply for a contract to use it, it's the American people's taxpayers' money. So before they gave you it to do a contract in Liberia, they want to know whether you're paying taxes in Liberia. So that's why the only verification is a tax clearance certificate. Now people issue fake tax clearances to people. So we've also brought a digital system that anybody, You and myself can go to LRA website and put in the number on that tax clearance certificate, and if it's valid, it will show. If it's not valid, nothing appears. So all of these, and also now you can also pay by mobile money. You can pay taxes and fees, birth certificate fees, permit fees. You pay these things through mobile money. So all of these digital interventions are there to ensure check and balance, and all of these things.
You want to come in?
Yeah, you asked why are we upbeat, and Daniel has listed,
he has listed
everything in the world that makes us so we upbeat. But we are upbeat because it is possible that we can do it. It is a path to go. We are upbeat because it has happened in other countries, and they are moving with their development, and we're enjoying. And we want to copy from them and take the best practices and bring it back to our country, just like how others are taking best practices from us. It is a decision that we have to make. We have to be intentional about what we want to do. And that has to do also with paying taxes. We must be intentional that if we want to see the best happening in this country, we have to be intentional. We sit down and make a decision that yes, we want to do it. So we included all of these simple processes that Daniel will categorize them as tax tools on our webpage. When you go on the first page of the website, the last page, you will see tax tool, you will see everything listed. Get your thing, verify your thing, tax clearance, everything online. So you sit right in the studio here and do everything you used to do that you will spend more than $2,500. You sit right here to do it, and you don't have to go anywhere. What that has done and is doing, it cut down the cost associated with paying taxes. It cut down the bureaucratic processes that could discourage somebody from paying taxes. Where you go to the LRA headquarters and sit there, or to the tax business center, and the system is down. Yeah, system is down, or you have a long line of people. If you go to our office these days, like the way it used to be, you don't see many people sitting there anymore. And so we are migrating people to the digital system gradually, and we encourage the public to take advantage. You can be lying out you can be sitting in the living room with your children and say, oh, I'm about to pay our real property tax. Just take your phone, go right there, sit right there, and pay your taxes, and the family will see the receipt right on the phone or on the computer screen. That's where the LRA is going, and we are committed to that. We're not going to change, and we encourage our people to do that. We only need the support and the full cooperation of all of the taxpayers, and that's why we continue to say thank you to all of them for what they've done and what they continue to do for this country.
Well, we will soon open the lines so that the public can interact with you this morning. But remember that this broadcast has been relayed on Radio Bush Road 98.1, Punch FM 106.7, ABC Radio 105.7, and that of Cool FM 91.9. And of course, my guest are from the Liberia Revenue Authority, Daniel Ankra. He's a senior communication officer at LRA, and D. Kahini Singbe is the manager, communication, media, and public affairs as well. We are discussing 10 years of effective existence or operations of the Liberia Revenue Authority, their prospects stories, challenges, though we have not heard much about challenges, but we will come to that. And I know you are out there. This is your country's revenue generating arm. Of course, without the LRA, we will not know how our country will be run economic wise. So yes, of course, they are here.
So Melvin, sorry, but just before you take the course, because I know that's where you go. That's where you go. And I just wanted to say something very briefly about so we're now also just trying to digitize systems for the public to interact with us. We're also trying to digitize our own internal systems so that we're able to work more effectively for the public.
Okay.
In Monrovia and parts adjacent, right now, we encourage the public that if someone came to your place of business or your home and that person says they're an LRA staff, we've coded now all of our ID cards. Cool. So it doesn't matter whether you have an iPhone 15 or you have a Techno Camon or you have a Samsung phone. You can scan the QR code on the ID card. It tells you that this person's name is Daniel Ankra. this person is senior officer for communications at LRA. There's a green check mark that tells you that this person is an active staff. If the person is suspended, if they're dismissed, if they're dead, it appears when you scan the QR code. It is the right of the taxpayer. If you don't feel satisfied with the LRA official that's before you and you need more verification, even if you see the ID card and you feel that you're not satisfied, it is your right, before interacting with that LRA staff, to request their ID card, to scan the QR code on the ID card. When you scan the QR code on the ID card, it tells you who that person is, whether they're an active staff of LRA, whether they are fired staff, whether they've been fired, whether they are suspended and acting, on their own behalf or anything of that sort. It's very important, and all of us at HQ now have our ID cards. In the counties, we're rolling it out, but in Monrovia and parts adjacent, any LRA staff, in fact, it's amended that you wear your LRA ID card when you're interacting with the public for any reason whatsoever. So if the person is not properly identified, you should not interact with them until they identify themselves as an LRA staff. Even if they're wearing an LRA jacket, they should identify themselves as an LRA staff. If you still do not feel comfortable, you can ask them for their ID card. They should give it to you. You should scan the QR code and know the name of the officer you're dealing with and which department he works.
Now, in case somebody who is interacting with a quote unquote or staff from LRA and the person doesn't have a smartphone, how does that person scan the ID card?
You can just request and look at the ID card to verify. And we're just saying that.
I mean, these are just additional alternative, and
definitely
to ensure that that person is actually an LRA staff. But besides just knowing the person from the face of the ID card, at the back of the ID card we also have a barcode. So when you scan the barcode, the barcode takes you directly to the LRA website, and you can get all the information you need to get. And I want the public to take advantage of the question and answer, the tax education component on the website.
Okay.
It's very, very helpful. It will help you to do everything and know everything that you need to know. We continue to work on it, but it has substantial information that the public can really depend on now. You haven't asked a question about challenges.
Yeah, challenges. There where I want to start. So we can talk about challenges.
We don't want to cry. We don't want to complain. We want to work. So, but of course, there are challenges. Daniel mentioned that in passing, indirectly, when he talked about there's a need to employ more staff at the LRA. You can employ more staff at the LRA when you don't even have enough money to pay the staff to buy the equipment. So the cost of recruiting one staff at the LRA is at least $1,250
US.
The cost.
Okay.
That's the money to get one staff come to the LRA, at least the least, because you need to buy a computer for the person, you need to buy decks for the person. You see there, all of the things they need to work. That is the cost just to employ one person, because you are not going to employ the staff. You don't give them a computer to work. You don't give them all of the target, and to do that work. So that alone. So if you want to include, for example, 100 person that the Commissioner General was talking about some time ago, so just multiply that 100 times 1,250. That is being the least. That is, it depends on the position. So if you are employing a manager, employment costs will go far beyond that amount. So just take that into consideration, and you have a budget. You have too many things to do. So in the counties, Daniel talked about it. The whole Banga, maybe you have 4 or 5 persons. Taking care of a place. Of course, we're losing too many in revenue. We need to reach out.
Do you have vehicles?
When you use one vehicle, you go Lofa County, but then it comes back, that vehicle is like gone. So the kind of vehicle we even need to buy would depend on the kind of resources we have as well. Yes, we have, but limited and very, very limited. So when we get our autonomy, we have our own resources now. We can be able to direct the resources most appropriately to where we need to invest more. But with the way it is, we just have to manage it and use it most appropriately also to be effective, because we want to meet the target. And this is the only government institution in this country that has a target to meet. And that is, this year, we are supposed to meet 738.8 million. And as of June 27, we have collected 342 million. So we still have a balance of 395.9 million to collect
before the year goes
before the year goes by. So so you see how it is. So it means we need to go all out and create. One of the things I think we need to do more is create more awareness. Because some of the people, when we sit with them and explain to them, if you have a property of $10,000, it means for the whole year you're supposed to pay only $25, and they can't believe it. And somebody said, "Oh, but I'm supposed to pay them free for nothing." So maybe we need to do more, but to create one tax clinic, create awareness also is cost intensive. You need to have 6-7 persons going out. I mean, to be able to do the necessary awareness.
Okay, so we can take few calls and
Yes,
and quickly 0772876481, 0772876481, or 0886-324740, 0886-324740. My guests are here this morning from the Liberia Revenue Authority. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Panua calling from Tupuru.
Go ahead, sir.
Where I'm from, Nima County, but I'm just in the city. But I'm concerned. Those days we used to pay hot tax. What is happening now that the hot tax are totally erased? I mean, the hot tax gave us the legitimacy that we are part of the country.
Okay.
We are paying any more hot tax. Are you planning to introduce hot tax? Because the hot tax will be give us some support.
Thank you. I think your point.
The question is.
Let's hear from this person. Morning. Good morning.
This is Hazard calling you from Lofa County to be so where this the morning.
Go ahead.
Let me just appreciate my friend, Thomas from ECOWA or UN Radio. So thank you so much for the education, because like somehow my testimony of that when they pull application for some kind of job where in order to carry their tax real estate document presented. I want that. So those who stay over the sound, the feel that when you pay tax, you are enemy of their country, when you pay tax will be the nation. But my question this morning, we always say that presenting the budget to support the government. Well, like Daniel, my friend, how much they can get from the government, because they can get the government, but they can get nothing. Thank you so much, Mary.
I did not get that last part.
Question?
It was not a question. He just trying to ask how much. Say you're raising money to give to government. How much the government gives you? Yes. So yeah, but he's okay. Let's hear from this person. We take 3 more persons. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Moses Lugawe, and I'm joining on the community.
Quickly, let's hear you.
I want to thank you guys for the clarity. My question this morning has to do with the identification of an agent coming to collect tax. Now, is there a specific contact number that you can call to confirm whether that agent is a mere agent or is a real person on the ministry?
Thank you. Let me take this last person. We don't have time. Morning.
Okay.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is James Tano, and I'm calling from Rehab.
Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, I want to ask a question concerning a farmland with 15 acres. I want to know how much is the tax that is supposed to be paid on this type of land, or farmland.
All right. Thank you so much. So yes, you can just address the few concerns, then we call it a day, please.
But we can tell him. So we can tell him how much he's supposed to pay on the farmland, because we have to know the value of the farmland in question. So it's not. It's determined.
He said 15 acres.
No, so I didn't mean
What is the cost?
Oh, okay.
So I mean the cost. So it's by the cost and by the percentage that is only estimated. That's how we determine how much he was supposed to pay as tax.
Okay.
So that specific one can be answered because the information is quite incomplete.
Somebody asked for a number just in case they can contact.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to give that to you shortly, but let the manager address the other.
Okay,
points.
so the issue about the farmland, we will advise the person to just get on the LRA website right now if they have access to internet, and just click on real property tax. Go to domestic tax department and click on real property tax, or go to tax education and roll down to real property tax. And if you know the value of that his acre of land, whatever, just put it into the system. Automatically, you know how much you're supposed to pay.
Okay.
I will not be able to say it now because I don't know the value of the property.
I know. So
Yeah.
we don't have time.
So
now.
the number,
Yeah.
And so the hot tax, we don't want to be saying hot tax in this country anymore, because the history associated with hot tax is misconstrued. It was a bad sign. So what we have real estate tax, real property tax. So that same hot tax, we call it real estate. And what we're trying to do about that, we're trying to decentralize it to the local government act, and we're rolling it across the country. Where when we come to, for example, my Gibi county, that we have the project, the amount that will be paid by the people in that county, 50% go back to them and 50% comes to the government.
Okay.
So far so good. How much the LRA getting? Well, that's what we're trying to fight for our autonomy. But I know this year we'll get around about 18 million.
18 million.
That will operate.
Daniel, just
So
send us a number.
the number to verify, if you want to call to see if the LRA agent is working for the LRA, is 0770-572-572, 0770-572-572. Once you call that number, once again, 0770-572-572, and then you'll be able to speak directly with a live agent.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Kahini Singbe. Thank you to the both of you for appearing this morning.
Thank you. It's a very wonderful pleasure. Let me say happy 10th anniversary to all of us Liberians. And let's keep working, pay tax, we all enjoy.
Thank you.
Well, that's how we come to the end of this presentation of the Super Morning Show. I've been having in audience Daniel Ankra, Senior Communication Officer, LRA, and the Kahini Singbe, Manager, Communication, Media, and Public Affairs. And then my guest, thanks to the community radio stations, Radio Bushra 98.1, Punch FM 106.7 for relaying, alongside ABC Radio 105.7 and Cool FM 91.9, and other radio stations across Liberia. Thanks to Damawa Fofana, who has been carrying us live on the social media. On behalf of the team, my name is Melvin Stewart. Very, you're very pleasant. Goodbye from Painesville. Hassan Kiao takes